everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Hot Corner. I'm your host, Brandon Magown, and I'm joined here today by Ellie, Schuckman, and Resnick. With the spring training still underway and the games just starting just yesterday, there are more storylines developing every single day. And one of the storylines coming in is obviously the new pace of play rules that MLB instated for this upcoming season. So to start things off, do you guys agree that with the new rules, and do you think they would be beneficial? Ellie, we'll start with you.
I do not think so at all. I hate the idea of putting a timer on baseball. It's one of the 4 professional sports that doesn't have a timer, and I think we need to keep it that way. I mean, batters, they're going to be rushed. Even though, yes, 1 foot in the batter's box, they can still take that time to relax. It's just not the same. When you have to be worried about making sure you're in that batter's box at all times, it's going to mess things up whether you like it or not. Timers in between inning breaks, I mean, yes, you have some upsides and may keep the game going along, but I just don't think it's necessary. If the umpires are having that much issue with it, then they just need to tell the guys, all right, that's it. Maybe make that a rule instead. But having the official timer on it, I just don't see it working out for very long. The one thing that I do like, though, is how managers, they no longer have to come out onto the field to challenge a replay call. I think that's going to work. That was unnecessary time.
That was awful last year.
Yeah.
They would stroll out, walk, take their time going up to the umpire, make small talk with them, waiting to get the call from the dugout.
Yeah,
that
was
I'm glad
ridiculous.
That's changed, yeah.
But that's the one thing I do like. I just don't see these rules lasting very long, especially when players are going to then be penalized for it. I don't see it working.
Well, it's only a $500 fine, and that fine goes to charities, so it's not like
It's not the worst thing, but it's still the fact that you're going to have that you're changing the game that's been played for how many years?
Yeah.
It's just I just don't see now all of a sudden. I get it. We're in a fast-paced society. You're trying to move things along, but fans like baseball for the way it is. It's a nice summer. It's a relaxing sport. You're going to be rushing that. I just don't think it's going to work out.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, Ellie. I think that these rules, it lowers the quality of baseball right now. Because baseball is a very strategic game, and when you force players to, in a time situation to make a decision, you're not letting them really think out the process and what the best thing to do in a situation is. The rule I really don't agree with is the 1 foot in the batter's box. Because as a hitter, you take a pitch that you think is a ball, umpire calls to a strike, you need that time to clear your head, to re-evaluate the situation.
But that's always been a rule. This isn't new. That's just it.
But they're
it was never
enforcing
enforced.
it more.
Well, yeah. Now they're trying to enforce it more, trying to speed up the pace of play a little bit.
What are you going to do, shave, 10, 15 minutes off of a time game? And also, think about it this way, if the game's shortened, ballparks have lesser time to sell memorabilia, sell food, so now you're lowering their revenue in that sense. So it's bad for the sport, it's bad for the game, it's bad for the team.
Yeah. Well, I just
don't agree with it.
I mean, I personally I agree. I like that there's no clock in baseball, and that's why I hope that a pitch clock never comes into play.
I think that would.
But in between innings, I mean, this is mainly for the broadcast. The TVs now they only have a strict certain amount of time, to show the commercials and. Just speeding up a little bit. You're not really rushing the guys too much. They're usually set anyway. It's that now the walk-up music is being played a little earlier instead of later and dragging out the beginning of the innings. For me, I kind of like the new clock a little bit.
The one thing I really don't like about this whole rule thing is the intentional walk rule. How if you want to intentionally walk a batter, all you have to do is notify the umpire, hey, we want to intentional walk him. Guy takes first base.
Well,
it takes a human error out of the game.
But they're testing that out. I don't think that's officially been.
I thought it's officially made.
Is it? Well, I have to look into that. But I know they're testing out as well as the pitch clocks in the minor leagues this season. And what they are going to do is they're going to keep data on that and let the pitchers know, hey, listen, if a pitch clock is to come into play next season, you're too slow. You have to speed things up. So
I just feel like that's changing the whole mentality of the game.
And then also, if you rush pitchers, they're going to be more likely to have an injury happen to them if they're not properly warmed up.
Yeah.
I just don't see this
what they're trying to do is they're not trying to change it immediately right now. They're trying to change the culture.
I mean, it's a slow progression, but
the generations coming up, then they're going to be used to it. They're going to be practicing this in high school, college, even the minor leagues, and then by the time they make it to the big leagues, this is just going to be second nature to them, and then they can start maybe making some other changes.
Maybe then, but for now, I mean, you still have all these veteran players who are still in the league, and I just don't see it working out.
Yeah, I know Dave Ortiz has spoken out about how he doesn't like it, but it'll be interesting. But I don't know. Personally, I like the few changes they've made so far. I kind of hope they keep it that way and not add too many other things. All right, so look ahead just a little bit. The surprise team last year was without a doubt the Kansas City Royals, making it all the way to the World Series and falling just one game shy. So with that in mind, which team do you believe is going to have a breakout year?
You know, Brandon, I'm looking at the Miami Marlins. I really like their offseason acquisitions. They brought in Martin Prado, completely versatile player, can play the third, second, left field, tried out right field a bit last year with the Yankees. I really like his ability to be versatile in that lineup. Ichiro Suzuki, he's not an everyday starter anymore, but that mentality he brings, that presence he brings to that clubhouse, it's going to be great with those young ball players. Michael Morris for first base has plenty of power there. I like that move. And also, if you look at who they have already in their rotation, Harrison Alvarez is dynamite at the top of the bullpen rotation. Matt Lato, Stan Heron, some good middle rotation.
Jose Fernandez back about
mid-season. I like that rotation. And then you have the obvious, Giancarlo Stanton in right field. He has half the season he had last year. He's going to be great again. Then you have Christian Yelich, Michael Ozuna. It's great.
Yeah, they have a lot of young talent.
I really like them. And plus, they're in that weak NL East. They have to play 18 games against the Phillies, Braves, and Mets. Sure, the Nationals will walk away with that division easily, but I really see them getting that wild card spot.
Yeah, they would be a fun team to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you there. The acquisitions that they have, top of the players that they already have, I think it's going to make for a really solid team. But personally, I'm going with the Chicago White Sox. Last season, they had 73, 89, fourth in the division. But I think with the acquisitions that they made in the offseason, it's going to come through for them. You have a really solid starter in Jeff Sarmaja. You have the closer, David Robertson. Not even the Yankees could keep him. Yeah. And Melky Cabrera, Adam LaRoche, it's going to combine those are home run guys. And that offense is going to take them really far. I just think they're going to be a team to look out for.
Oh, yeah, and it obviously hurts that Chris Sale now fractured his foot in a freak accident, but he'll be back soon. You have, Sale, Samardzija, like you said, Quintana. I mean, their rotation looks good. They, brought Robinson in, like you said, great at the back end of that bullpen. Zach Duke, I believe. I mean, they just made a lot of moves. Both teams in Chicago are going to be fun to watch this year, but definitely I think the White Sox are going to give the Tigers a run for the money in that division this year.
Them and Royals.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'll do it for our discussion questions. After the break, we'll get into our rapid fire segment. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the Hot Corner. It's now time for our rapid fire segment. Well, I ask each analyst 3 questions and they'll have 30 seconds to respond. Ellie, we're going to start with you. Obviously, the big story heading into spring training this year is Alex Rodriguez and the media frenzy that should have followed him until about mid-April. But, he has come out and formally apologized for not only, his drug use, but also his actions towards the Yankees. So, do you believe that his apology was enough?
All I'm saying is that he had better deliver. He can apologize as many times as he wants. Who knows if he's really sincere about it or not. But the fact is he hasn't played a professional game in over a season, a full season. He better deliver when he comes to the plate. Who knows? He's 40 years old. He's had surgeries. Who knows how much time he's going to get in the field. But if he cannot deliver at that bat, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if his apology is going to mean anything at that point.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he's been so far getting the loudest cheers at Yankee spring training so far. But I think those cheers will soon turn into boos if he doesn't deliver, especially in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So it'll be very fun to watch.
I don't even think his apology was enough. You sued the Yankees, or he attacked the Yankees, MLB Players Association. And you apologize in a letter, and you offered Yankee Stadium to host your press conference. I don't think that was enough, and it's not a mistake because he did it already. So he didn't learn from that previous mistake with the Rangers.
Yeah, I think time heals all wounds. So I think if he performs, and the more time that goes by, I think you start to forgive him just a little bit. But all right, Jen, for your first question, staying on the topic of A-Rod, can the Yankees really rely on him this upcoming season?
They can't, and it's completely obvious in their offseason moves that they cannot rely on him. They traded for Garrett Jones with the Martin Prado trade. He could DH, he could play first, but A-Rod's is allegedly trying to try out, even though he's not really fully giving it his all. It was reported playing first base. They re-signed Chase Headley. Chase Headley could play defense. A-Rod's turning 40. He had 2 hip surgeries. How can you swing a bat with power with 2 hip surgeries? That's where you're getting your power from as a power hitter. I can't see him doing that. And it's just a distraction in general, again, with his makeshift apology and showing up early to the spring training with not informing the Yankees. You know you're going to create a circus.
Yeah, but it's still early. You have to give him a little break.
Yeah, but you know you're going to get that circus coming. And you do not inform your team that, you know what, this is going to happen at this day, at this time. Be prepared.
And he apparently already on Monday in the inter-squad game already struggled against a pitching machine going 0 for 2.
Yeah,
so that's not a good sign.
I mean, Chris Young struck out that pitching machine.
Yeah. But all right, for your second question, Ellie, after losing guys like Nelson Cruz and Nick Markakis, are the Orioles still a threat in the American League?
You know what? I'm not sure. Losing those guys is going to be tough. They're relying on now Wieters and Machado to really fill that role. If they can stay healthy, then they have a shot. I mean, Wieters, there's power there with Chris Davis too. They can combine and make up those home runs that Cruz got last season. But it's still, you're losing those top guys. I'm just not sure.
I know it's tough, and you better hope Chris Davis bounce backs and has the
Yeah.
season he had about 2 years ago. But yeah.
And his contract situation, his last year of his contract, is that going to be a distraction in the season? How's that going to play
Yeah,
out?
it'd be very interesting. I mean, I think the key is Machado, because he was great his rookie season. He's got to come back healthy, get that knee problems under him, and I think he'll be okay. But they still have a shot because I still think the Red Sox they don't have pitching. So
yeah,
that
they still have a
division-
shot, but I mean,
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen? They're not the same team they were.
Yeah, definitely. Your second question, Jen. We all know that the Red Sox have been spending like crazy this offseason, acquiring a ton of new players. But now it seems like they have too many guys and not enough positions, especially in the outfield. So do you see them trading a player or any players?
Yeah, you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. That's exactly what they have in their outfield. The two guys I definitely keep, Mookie Betts and Brock Cole.
Yeah.
Betts is gonna be a star. If you're gonna trade Betts, you better get Kifley and Colt Hamels. If you're gonna, you gotta keep Brock Cole because you have Sandoval's a big guy, and that grass on at Fenway is not the best, and that dirt isn't the best. So, and then you have Ramirez in left. I think you keep him because he has versatility, but I think you gotta get rid of Victorino. He's one of the older guys in that outfield. He's coming off those injuries, but I think he's gotta get rid of.
Yeah, I mean, they have, Victorino, Alan Craig, Jackie Bradley Jr., who they're still trying to bank on. But yeah, I agree. You got to keep Brock Holt. He was so good last year, filling in any position they needed. He's a guy you got to hold on to.
I think you keep Craig over Nava, though. I think Craig has more of an upside. But if you need to unload cash, that's when you go to Craig.
Yeah, I agree. For your final question, Ellie, after the long and unexpected run last season, can the Royals make it back to the playoffs?
I'm not sure. Obviously, money issues. They could not re-sign everyone.
Yeah.
Shields, that's obvious. But they still have solid pieces and guys that really delivered when it came to the playoffs, when it came to the World Series. Mike Moustakas, Eric Hosmer. They have the solid bullpen. They still have a shot. And if those guys can combine and really maybe feed off of what they did last season, they have a shot.
Yeah, I mean, they lost Billy Butler, but they did sign Alex Rios. So, there's a few, Kenneth Morales. There's a few guys that maybe can fill those gaps, but it'll definitely be the starting pitching, I think, is the question.
Yeah.
Can Ventura step up and be the ace that they need? He's so young, but...
no one expected them last season.
Exactly.
Look what they did.
They're probably going to count them out again, and they're probably going to surprise a lot of people. And for your final question, Jen, with the unfortunate suspension of Angels outfitter Josh Hamilton looming, can the Angels still compete without his presence?
I don't think so. I think that the rest of the teams in the AL West got better. Mariners got Cruz. Cano's coming in good shape. Jason Montero has come in 40 pounds later in great shape. I don't think they can compete with them. And plus, you look at that lineup they have. They traded Howie Kendrick. You don't know what you can get as TJ Wilson. You can't rely solely on Mike Trout and Albert Pujols to have good seasons again. And if Hamilton has a lesser suspension than we're looking for right now, you can't expect him to come back. He needs to get healthy and get his life in shape before he comes back and participates in any baseball activity.
But he had an awful year last year, and really since he got there, and they were the best team in baseball last year. So
it's his presence in a lineup. Even though wasn't doing handball, you still have to be aware he is Josh Hamilton. He does have this power.
That's right. I mean, he did win
an
an MVP in 2010. So I mean, that presence. You're right. All right, but that'll do it for a rapid fire round. After the break, we'll wrap things up with Coming At You. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's now time for Coming At You, where each analyst will ask each other a question made up on the spot and have about a minute to respond. So, Ellie, we'll start with you. What's your question?
So we talked about teams that we think are going to have a breakout season. Which team right now with high expectations do you think will underperform?
I think the Padres are going to underperform. I look at their lineup, and they got great power. We got Matt Kemp, Will Myers, and Upton, Justin Upton. But they don't have a center fielder, and that's a National League ballpark, it's a pitcher's ballpark. I don't see them playing defense that well. Third base has Solarte, or they have Will Middlebrooks they traded for. That's not really the best two options there. I don't see them coming together as a team.
They have a good rotation.
They have a good rotation, but I don't see them playing defense in that ballpark. They go to Colorado to play games there. I don't see them coming together. Matt Kemp is not what Matt Kemp you think of right now. He can't play center. He proved that last year he can't play center.
Well, they are starting Will Myers there, and he's never played center field before.
He's a young player. I don't think Will Myers coming off a bad season. I don't think that they're going to live with that high expectations.
But teams always do that. They sacrifice defense for the offense. So as long as the power is there and the numbers are there on offense, I think they're willing to overlook the defense.
Yeah, we have to see what the outcome is.
Yeah, but on paper they look great. But
you
never know. They could be like the Blue Jays and the Marlins of a few years ago, where everyone thought they were going to be the team that would go win the World Series, and they just ended up being a huge flop. What's your question, fella?
We talked about A-Rod and the Yankees. What do the Yankees have to do this season to compete and get into the playoffs and go further in playoffs.
You know what? For this season, I don't even know if they have what it takes already. I think they really need to reevaluate their entire farm system. They relied so long on buying players. They relied on their veterans. Derek Jeter's gone. A-Rod, like I said, is 40 years old. What does he have left? They need to get back to their roots. Start maybe, like I said, start drafting better players and just start from there. I mean, get their management sorted out. Who knows what's happening there? And in a couple seasons, I think we'll see a lot more development and see them make another run again. But
a huge
right
key
now,
is going to be their health of the starting pitcher.
Definitely.
CC, Tanaka, even Ivan Nova when he
Nova's
comes
coming
back.
back.
So that's going to be a huge question mark there. But I mean, they've stayed relatively competitive in the past few years when
they
guys have
have,
gone
but
down.
it's
but
not
Rory's
the
done a great
Yankees that
job with
everyone
that.
came to love. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the history in that ballpark, they just haven't delivered the past couple seasons.
yeah.
You talk about the minor league system. Rob Snyder, I think, is going to be a good second baseman for this team.
Yeah.
I really like his upside over Steven Drew.
I think they have the right pieces, but when will those all come together? I don't know if it's going to be right now.
Yeah, it might take a year or so, but I think a lot of teams, when they go through that rebuilding phase, Yankees will be able to rebuild much faster
Yeah.
than that.
I like
but-
the Didi Gregorius trade. I thought that was a very good, smart trade.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to try and get some offense out of him.
Yeah.
He's a defensive guy.
Oh,
but
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, that'll do it for another episode of the Hot Corner. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, if you're interested in joining LTV, like us on Facebook or email us at ltv@tcnj.edu. For Jen Resnick and Ellie Schuckman, I'm Brandon Magown. Have a good one.